Did you see that Fox News segment where they were finally they finally made a big segment on how, man, what is wrong with these teachers? These new like these new wave of female high school teachers messing with their students. What? They have no idea what's going on. They're so late to the party. They're so late to the party. I'm gonna do a segment on that soon. Hopefully, there's no copyright issues with that. But anyway, in this new installment of Teachers Are Thoughts series, let's read the title. A North Carolina science teacher at South Mecklenburg High School, Gabriella Neufeld, age 26, was arrested and charged with 5 felony counts of sexual activity with the 18-year-old student. Let's read the official story. Court records state that Neufeld and an 18-year-old student engaged in intercourse or a sexual act at least 5 times since October 18th. We take this matter seriously, South Meck principal Mark Anger said in a message to families. We share your concerns regarding the situation, the safety and security of his blah, 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 blah. Neufeld is charged with 5 counts of felony sexual activity with the student. She was released from bond. Sorry, this thing is killing me. Thought I had that fixed. Anyway, she faced a judge in her first court appearance. Well, no, my bad. Neufeld is charged with 5 counts of felony sexual activity with the student. She was released from jail Thursday morning on a $75,000 unsecured bond. I wonder where she got that money from. Probably her parents. She faced a judge in her first court appearance on Thursday afternoon, where she requested a public defender to represent her. Yeah, she don't really need like a lawyer because she already knows like she doesn't like because they know that she's not even going to get no real time for that. Prosecutors asked for the judge to reconsider Neufeld's bond conditions, stating that the student's mother had reason to believe she and her son might leave the area together. She said her son has mentioned leaving their home on several occasions. Low-key, she a predator too on that end too. People are going to look at the age and be like, well, he's 18, she's 26, what's the problem? But at your high school, dog, if that was a man that did that, you would be looking at him weird still. You know, and you're going to see in the comment section where most of the women, they're like, well, he's 18, she's 26, what's the problem? This is why, you know, when it comes down to it, you know, people that care for their sons, they make sure they kind of steer them away from women that are older than them, because it's like when the leverage is all on the woman's side, it can never end up a good thing. Sexually, I mean. Prosecutor said his mother found out about the relationship on Thanksgiving. They said she tracked his phone and noticed he was not at rugby practice on Wednesday, so she followed him to his location. That's when prosecutors say she saw him having sex with his teacher in a car at a Park Road Park in South Charlotte and called police. A judge ruled that Neufeld be put on electronic monitoring and have no contact with the student she is accused of having sex with. They said that 5 felonies for an 18-year-old is so. Yeah, it's a lot of people basically trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. But like I said, it's not a matter of 18. I told you guys, when it comes to these new age teachers coming to teach at high schools at these young ages, damn near close to age, they're there to hunt for chads. And I don't know if I have the picture, but they found pictures of her and the dude together, and he's a football player. Well, they said he was a rugby player, but they showed him in his football pads and whatnot. So, like, well, it said October 18th, so the season's probably already over. So he probably went straight to rugby right after that. But I've been saying this for over a year now. Like I said, if you parents, especially mothers, and good thing on the mother for tracking that her son's phone on that end. Mothers, if you have physically, how do I put it? If you have a genetically gifted son, meaning he's over a certain height, or you know that he gets a lot of girls in high school, or he just garners attention wherever he goes. whether good or bad. Maybe he's a slick talker, that's why he gets a lot of attention. Maybe he looks good, face symmetrically wise, and that's why he gets attention. Or he's just tall, right? If you have one of those sons, make sure you need to find out what his teachers are. You need to find out if you got one, especially if you got one of these new high school teachers coming through, talking about in their early 20s, acting like they acting like they're actually there to actually help the world. And they're just chat hunting. Because I bet you this is the same girl, 26. Like I told you, girls of my generation, they're wired differently. These girls have been on head meds since they were been 13 or 14 years old. By the time they hit 20, by the time they already hit age 18, their head is already fried. Right? They're fried mentally. Especially when you're dealing with girls. I like looking at her. I can tell this is like I'm looking at her. She looks like a half breed. Like she looks mixed black and white. She's definitely a half breed from my vantage point. So, but looking at her and kind of looking at her hairstyle, she looks like the typical like liberal half breed, right? Yeah, 26. She's close to my age, so, but she's older, but just by a year. But that, like I said, this girl. My point is, she grew up in the suburbs. This is a suburbs girl. I'm looking at her. This is a girl. Probably most stuff has been given to her. Average student. That's why she's a teacher. She probably couldn't do much else, at that age. Doesn't have much talent, off of first glance. And really, she has nothing going on for her life, So girls like that, you need to watch, But, the normies are not. You see, the normies will be like, oh, she's pretty. She doesn't need. She's gotten that all out of her system. Nope. Nope. So you guys gotta be careful, especially nowadays. You guys have to be careful. Let's look at more comments. He said, damn, she couldn't wait for him to graduate. It ain't that serious. But like I said, these girls, and the thing is, hold up, let me put it on me for a second. And here's the thing, what people don't understand, the girls, Generation Z, right? When we're talking about Generation Z girls, they don't look at themselves as adults, right? They don't look at themselves as mature adults. I'm talking about they can have a whole family and everything, married and everything. They don't see themselves. Generation Z, Generation Z women do not look at themselves as adults. They still think they're kids. So the way they relate to the people underneath them, they don't look at themselves as, oh, they look up to you. You know what I mean? They think that they're one of them. Actually, they think that in their head, so now, and you've literally seen women make TikToks about that, talking about how they still feel like they're a teenager and whatnot. And this is scary. Because a lot of them make videos like that. It'd be like, but in my mind, I'm a 26-year-old teenager and stuff like that. They're making jokes. But I always say this. Imagine if men were making videos like, I still feel like, they'd probably, people would be like, nah, you a weirdo, bro. So why aren't we giving them the same energy? Now, I always notice little shit like this when I was a teenager, right? I would see like the English teachers, still dressing like they're young and shit. And I always thought that was weird. Like, I always thought that was weird to me. Like, I'm like, you're an adult. Well, you're not us. Like, what the, and people just thought I was an asshole for saying stuff like that. But I'm like, nah, after a certain age, dog, that's man. Like, to me, like, I always look at it like this. Once you hit 16, you really, people are already like, you're already making adult decisions by then. Especially if you are one of those sexually active teenagers from back in the day. If by the time you start doing that, you might as well start assuming even more responsibility while you're at it. So, but like, even like I said, my generation, they don't look at themselves as losers for like, you know what I mean? They look at themselves. They don't look at themselves as broke. They just look at themselves as kids. You know, it's, you know, it is what it is on that end. So this is why it's scary. It's scary if you have a kid that's and going to enter high school or middle school. You know, they're catching these teachers with 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, and they're under the age of 30. They're Generation Z. They're generation. They're all Gen Z women. Gen Z women are getting caught like astronomically, and you know a lot of people's theories on that too is like they think that this has always been happening, and this is true. This has always been happening. I just think now is going to be even more prevalent because men are now busting those hoes out, and I applaud them for doing that because it's too many immature 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds about where were those teachers when I was young. I'm like, dude, that's guys, you know. But like I said, you know, men, and so I applaud these new generation men and young teenage boys for busting these hoes out because they be getting away with murder with that on that end, and people don't understand the damage that you can do to a young boy by exposing them to something like that earlier on, and is really just an older woman who in the past would be considered an old hag taking advantage of the horniness of a young boy, which is basically his testosterone is making him go nuts, and basically just taking advantage of that and basically twisting his mind, love bombing on him, and even possibly imprinting on that young man to where all the relationships he has after that is always going to mirror that. You know what I'm saying? So people just act like that can't happen to young men, but that actually can happen to young men, and they need to be stopped and they need to be burned at the stake. Nah, I'm dead serious, dog. As I see the way 304s parade themselves nowadays, I see them do the stuff that they do, say the stuff that they say, the way they brag about doing witchcraft nowadays. I understand now a little bit how when we talk about witch trials and stuff like that. I know a lot of innocent women of science were victimized by this, or innovative women were victimized by this. But I do also think that it was really just men or people of the village gathering up 304s and burning them at the stake, because at that time, to be a 304 was to be a witch. That's my personal opinion on it. Because the way I see them act now, I think I know what happened back then. I'm starting to get even a bigger a more nuanced thing. It wasn't just, it wasn't just like some random hoes being done dirty by the public, by, hypocritical members of the clergy and stuff like that. There was more to it that they can't really put into words. So they just say we was rounding up and gathering up witches. That was kind of their safe way or PC way of putting it.